Dark Souls Remastered can now be played in seamless co-op. This mod allows you to play in your friend's world without ever leaving. No more stop-and-go gameplay. No more playing the game twice over just to be at the same part. And no more frustrating invasions sucking up your time. After trying out Seamless for both Elden Ring and Dark Souls 3, me and my brother had to give the original classic a full playthrough. So that's just what we did. This is how me and my brother spent 34 hours 100%ing Dark Souls in seamless co-op. I chose Pyromancer, with the Master Key of course, while my brother chose Hunter so he could easily use a bow. As soon as we reach a bonfire, there's achievement number 1, Light Bonfire Flame, and immediately co-op can begin. Simply use the Blessed Eye to summon him, while he uses the Crystal Eye to join you. All basic enemies now have 75% more HP, while bosses have a whopping 200% more HP. Sounds like a lot, but that was the default, and honestly it felt about perfect. The second achievement we get is Acquire Estus Flask. Thank the kind sir for his sacrifice before collecting our Pyro Glove and dropping down on the Asylum Demon. Fireballs already prove their worth with good range advantage, while my brother's hack at his butt method also produced some fine results. A quick ride over to Firelink Shrine where we acquire achievement number 3, Arrive in Lordran. I mainly want strength at the moment because my weapon of choice is a whole lot bigger than this hand axe. At the merchant, Roki bought some extra arrows. Blue Tearstone Ring I grab while decimating our good friend here for a free Titanite chunk. Taurus Demon now lies before us, though a more tactful approach might prove useful. With my brother at the top of the tower holding a bow, I went and got the big fellow's attention. Bows, to no one's surprise, don't do a whole lot of damage, especially not with bosses having more HP, though bows do tend to stagger bosses quite quickly, if I keep up pressure as well. Solaire, the bright ball of sunshine that he is, won't get any recognition this time around. We'll save that for NG+, so it's all about him. Our next goal was to cut off a dragon's tail, specifically the fire drake who guards this bridge. I managed to snag the claymore, which I couldn't help but equip, though it took about a half hour for us to pull this off. Turns out, with inflated HP, co-op confusion, and me not really helping at all, the tail is not so easily severed. But eventually we got the scaly beast to sit still long enough to acquire the Drake Sword. Not my main weapon choice, but a somewhat smaller version of it. Some more backstabs and near-death experiences lend us a Black Knight Greatsword, which is tempting, I'll give it that. One large knight out of the way grants a Firekeeper soul. Then at the blacksmith we can purchase a repair box. Weapon arts are crazy cool even in Dark Souls, but wow, do they eat your weapon's durability fast. Titanite demons, as it turns out, are no easier to deal with in co-op. Grasscrest Shield for extra stamina regen? Check. Havel backstabbed into oblivion during the most unfair matchup ever? Check. Havel's ring will be needed for the extra equip load almost this entire run, I'd imagine. Back in Firelink, we can upgrade our flasks at the Firekeeper, and for some reason my brother really wanted this NPC dead. Pointless murder aside, this is why I chose the Drake Sword. Rare moments indeed, but boy are they satisfying. Lautrec gets freed of course, and then it's time for gargoyles. For 100%, we do need to collect all tail weapons. Gargoyles have the tail axe, which is incredibly easy to chop off. Then with 2 Drake swords in action, they really don't stand a chance. Ring Bell of Awakening at Undead Church. My brother saved up enough souls for the Crest of Artorias, which, even though I don't have it, still allowed us through to the cat, earning us a new ring and an achievement. Discover Forest Hunter Covenant. Through the secret tree, we can collect the Wolf Ring. I always thought it was useless for some reason, but after equipping it here, I can attest it makes a huge difference. Poise, after all, is the secret weapon of Dark Souls. Moonlight Butterfly. Are we going to be boring or interesting? Equipped with a bow, my bro chipped away at her while I blocked all the magic. More Estus would have been nice to have, but after the beast landed only once, I was no longer worried. Divine Ember is definitely an important item, though we won't use it until much later. Sitting at 24 strength, we went back to Firelink and joined another covenant. Discover Way of White Covenant. Lautrec could be kicked off the ledge, but with two of us, it's only fair he be given a chance. Ring of Favor is ours at last for extra health, stamina, and load. At the merchant again, we can get a few repair powders. Freeing the sorcerer from his predicament leads us to Capra Demon, who made me look like a fool almost immediately. One Purging Stone is a must-buy, because I've been ruined by Curse before and it's no picnic. The Large Ember is an easy pickup, after of which we free the Pyromancer to hopefully get more of that going here soon. Through what can only be explained as a freak accident, we offed the Channeler immediately and easily made our way down to the Gaping Dragon. Yet another foe whose tail we need to remove. While I haven't speedrun this game 100 times or anything, I am more than aware of several factors here. Number one being that the Gaping Dragon doesn't take a lot of damage. His nose, basically, or maybe that's his face, it's hard to tell. That's where he's weak. On top of that, the Drake Sword is a noob trap, as most consider it completely overpowered until right about now, where it becomes terrible, since it's kinda hard to upgrade. Don't worry, I've got a plan all laid out. Now that we have the tail off, you can see what we're really working with. Too scared to go for the face, tiny little chips are gonna keep us here for a while. So our damage is definitely falling off to the point where we should be very worried. Bow and arrow is pretty darn busted for this gloomy area, as my brother sniped down most threats before they got to us. He also took out the weird wall monster, creating a safe route to Power Within. Never got to use this myself, but a huge damage buff in exchange for HP loss over time sounds like quite a bit of fun. Through a damp swamp and about 16 leeches, we enter the Great Hollow. Lighting the bonfire here is important, as we now face the greatest enemy of all. Gravity! Luckily, we were able to escape without getting cursed, although we missed an item or two. Ash Lake. The coolest area FromSoft has ever put in any of their games. A giant ocean underground filled with large trees and one giant hydra. The thing actually flies over you, which is something I had never seen before. Holding sprint gets you through unscathed as we reach the dragon. Discover Path of the Dragon Covenant. And now that that's done, we can come back here and cut off his tail, earning us the Dragon Greatsword, of which I still cannot use because 50 strength is freaking insane. Fortunately, there is a few dragon scales sitting near the edge. After distracting the Hydra, my brother went and grabbed those as well. He then cut out, letting me bone home. The bonfire under Blighttown has a dragon scale hiding in the back for a reason I never understood. Mildred now attacks with the ferocity of a twig. Yeah, turns out NPCs don't get any scaling with the mod. At least not as far as we could tell. Well, about time we find out how bad Quelaag is gonna be. Ah, not even hitting for yellow. That's probably what I should have expected. The point in which our epic Drake Sword meets its match. Or is it? Because turns out Quelaag has a huge weakness to arrows. As long as my brother shot her human body and not the spider underneath, she would be stun locked in place. This doesn't make the fight go by any faster, since it is a bow after all, but thank goodness it made up for our abysmal damage. Ring Bell of Awakening in Quelaag's domain. Not further down, we can speak with the Spider Lady. Discover Chaos Servant Covenant, granting us the Great Chaos Fireball. It was here that we tested to see if dragon scales could be dropped and picked up by the other player. Heck yeah, they can. Offer up 30 or all of my humanity to the Spider Lady so we gain the Chaos Storm Pyromancy. And at last, but not least, with 34 strength, we can now two-hand the Dragon Greatsword. Same weapon art as the Drake Sword, but bigger, and way better. Unfortunately, even with the scales, upgrading this thing is expensive at 10,000 apiece. apiece, so +2 is as far as I can get it right now. My build finally all put together, it's up the other side of Blighttown we go. Once again, the bow made collecting our second Firekeeper soul almost too easy. I deal the damage, my brother deals with the pesky nonsense. Beautiful stuff. Valley of the Drakes is where we can fully test and see what kind of build we're looking at. 5 uses of the weapon art before our sword breaks. Not a lot, but that damage seems worth it. Either way, that's another dragon scale along with Astoria's straight sword, which is something we have to grab. New Londo is useless to us at the moment, but we can stop and grab a third Firekeeper soul. Dragon Greatsword goes up to +3 as I purchase Iron Flesh and Fireball from the Pyromancer. While the Deep Roots Hydra was off limits, the other one near Havel was game for sure. Bow is really useful for this as well, giving me an easy Dust Crown ring and additional dragon scale. On our way up to Sif, this particular set of NPCs kicked my butt not once, but twice. So we flattened this fellow for his fancy sword. Hornet ring in hand, Sif was kind of being a problem. My damage might be crazy high, but when the dog jumps back just as I swing, it's all for nothing. Really need to go buy more repair powder too, that's kind of an issue right now. Pyromancy was also something I wanted to try here, though that might have distracted me for longer than I would have liked. Ah, yes, my first death to Power Within. Embarrassing to say the least. Good old Roki Doki knows what he's doing though, and was able to outrange the pupper with his sick backflips. Covenant of Artorias is ours, and gosh darn it, I have to walk all the way back over there again. Ugh. The enchanted ember we found by accident, as it was protected by a few mushroom fellows. We managed to start the whole DLC process, mainly so I could purchase these spells. Most importantly, the repair spell. With only 14 int and a catalyst, you can get 1 free repair at any given time. No more Grass Crest Shield, I'm sorry to say, but I'll take the improvement regardless. Dragon Greatsword is maxed out at a +5. Back in firelink, we grab the Asylum Key, then roll up into an egg and return to face Stray Demon. Not nearly as much damage as I would have expected. It seems that the terrain here is just wonky enough for my sword to not hit twice, like it often does. Either the wave or the sword are hitting. Wave seeming to do a lot more on its own even. All things considered, we should have probably waited way longer to come back here, since, you know, my brother's bow was doing squat diddly. The Black Knight sword dropped as we collected the Peculiar Doll. We were then attacked viciously by a lost friend. He didn't seem to realize how powerful I had become. Sorry, bud. Maybe next time. Rusted Iron Ring is another something for our collection. I had enough to purchase most miracles from the fat fellow, but not nearly all of them. Here's a great idea. Let's go to the catacombs early. Said nobody ever. With 2 of us fighting the undead army, it wasn't so bad. Though I was missing my big sword, I'll tell you that much. Pinwheel was surprisingly difficult to find, though once he did show his true face, it was all but over in seconds. Acquire the Right of Kindling. Not only that, but I got Mask of the Mother to drop. Increases max HP by 10%. Arguably, the one I really wanted. We found a Skull Lantern early on, so Tomb of the Giants was a walk in the park. Patches kicked us down as he tends to do. No hate though, as we needed this duo to perish for access to more miracles. Patches I was pretty sure you could make peace with, but when I tried, he simply attacked me instead. I think we might have been having some technical difficulties. Boning back up before Pinwheel, we can get a Black Knight shield. Had to clock a Titanite demon, but I have to say this one went a lot better. 3 Eyes of Death. Those will be important later. Getting into this particular coffin grants us audience with Nito, the Lord of Death himself. Discover Gravelord Servant Covenant. He grants us the Gravelord Sword and Miracle right off the bat. I then offered him 3 Eyes of Death we just got, but several more will be needed to rank up. Dark Moon Seance Ring isn't too hard to grab on your way back up. And don't forget the most random miracle placement of all time with Walk of Peace. Now having all the brute's spells, it was time for a quick smackdown. Ta-da! We did the Miracle questline correctly. Now we can purchase more extremely expensive spells. Let's come back to this later, shall we? Time for Sen's Fortress, right? Nope. We are instead going through New Londo. I know, probably the weirdest route through Dark Souls, but it's interesting to say the least. Lots of ghost busting, with the occasional death to spice things up. We have to purchase Resist Curse, but then this man has outlived his usefulness. Let the waters pour forth, opening up the depths of this lost city. New Londo Ruins houses the very large Ember. Aside from that, all our exploring mostly resulted in some Titanite chunks. Throwing on Artorias' ring, we fall down into the darkness. I managed to pull a press continue, as I'd call it. Transient Curse prevents activating power within after all, so yeah, damage could have been a lot better. A poor start to say the least. Plus it got much worse later on as I was comboed into oblivion. As you can see, Roki's damage was never going to win this war, resulting in our first full loss. On a second try though, I could actually use Power Within, letting us shred through each king in a timely fashion. Defeat the 4 kings, inheritors of souls. Since we came down here early on, we can now start the dark ending. Discover Dark Wraith Covenant. Because we had a ton of Demon Titanite, I figured why not upgrade Nito's sword and mess around with it. That's what I get for goofing off. Ha! That's what he gets for getting me. Sen's Fortress, baby. About time. Cheese this Titanite demon with arrows, because why not? Then we had to drop down and clear out the other 2. I'm not gonna say this is the best weapon in the game. No, that title's reserved for everybody's favorite greatsword. What I will say is this thing is a ton of fun. Probably has my favorite weapon art, at least. Down here we collect the Scythe, which I honestly want to try more of. Siegmeyer of Katarina sits waiting for us to begin his quest. Just speak with him for now. Make sure to free Logan for his expensive spells later. Easily dispatch this fellow for Ricard's rapier, and it should be time for Iron Golem. As per usual, I love to start things off by expertly getting grabbed. Roki over there is still committed to that bow and arrow life, which you have to respect. Arrive in Anor Londo. We decided to first head towards Gwendolyn since there's a decent bonfire down there. Grab the ring down here, then get the Covenant ring, and finally join it myself because co-op partners apparently don't count. Discover Blade of the Dark Moon Covenant. Great magic weapon can't be forgotten near the broken chandelier. Once actually in the castle, we can find 3 sunlight medals in a chest. Some of the only ones you can find for free. Havel's armor, of course, is a must grab for every run, just in case. Plus, Dragon Tooth is down here along with the Occult Club. Siegmeyer, there you are again, buddy. Let me solve this little Silver Knight problem for you. He's pretty happy about this, granting tiny beings ring and ideally progressing his quest correctly. Took us a little while to find the Titanite demon hiding here, which I mean most of these guys make a little bit of sense, but how on earth did this one end up in such a small room? And in like broad daylight with silver knights guarding every door. Sure does make for one cumbersome battle. Meeting up with the giant blacksmith, he's hiding Hawk's ring. Obviously something Roki found very helpful. Ornstein and Smo, the dastardly duo versus another duo. Finally, a fair fight to show these guys up. Originally, we were gonna go for Ornstein, but he simply didn't want to be hit by either of us. Instead, Smo it is, with Bo doing almost all the work, surprisingly. Big Ornstein time. Not a fight I think I've ever done. Him focusing on the archer was a bad move, as I had all the time in the world to set up perfect attacks. The Leo ring is ours. Yay, we'll never use that. Hey, at least fast travel is a much better reward. Acquire the Lord Vessel. We then join up with the lovely lady. Discover Princess's Guard Covenant. Teleporting on over to Firelink, we find Siegmeyer. We tell him we rung the bells to open the gate and accept Emit Force. Unfortunately, not all achievements for Souls games are created equally. One in particular requires you to do some invading, which we aren't fans of the invasion system in these games by any means. So how do we get around it? Well, it's pretty simple, although very time-consuming. If you drop the useless pendant to the crows, they will exchange it for one souvenir of reprisal. But you can only do this once, it seems. Even if second player drops you another pendant, the crow won't take it again. So instead, we have second player start a new character with the pendant as his gift. Trade for the souvenir, then jump into first player's world and drop it to him. This works, but you need to do it about 10 times. Maybe better to just farm them out from low drop rates, except we had a plan. While my brother did that, I would go farm various weapons needed for 100%. Giant's Halberd and Demon Spear dropped, giving me enough souls to also buy many of the spells I still needed. Then I went back down into the sewer area to farm basilisks. They can drop Eyes of Death I need for Nito. Best farming spot of all seems to be in Anor Londo itself. You can kill the Silver Knights here for 1,000 souls. And since his sword, spear, and shield are low drop rates, you need to defeat about 1,000 of them anyway. With so many souls now saved up, I could upgrade my Pyro Flame to +10 at the little egg sack dude. This causes a new NPC to spawn in the swamp. She can further upgrade our flame and sell us crazy strong pyromancies. That, of course, I can't afford. And yes, we know about the soul dupe glitch, we're not going to be using that. Instead, we return to Gwendolyn and turn in all 10 of those Covenant items, granting us Dark Moon Blade. Probably one of the hardest miracles to get just because it's locked to a Covenant, and PvP. With that out of the way, we can finally fight Gwendolyn, who is a complete nightmare in co-op. Usually you dodge the creature's projectiles while running towards it. Well, due to some kind of oddity with the aggro, we couldn't get close. Finally, I managed to, and whoa, that's a crap ton of damage. One more of those, okay, that's beautiful, we're getting pretty close. Only one hit more should do it, and I died. Guess you can't outrun those orbs. Roki tried his best to finish the beast, but no such luck was had. Time to do that all over again. And yeah, something about the aggro in co-op really messes with this fight. We were worried that the entire hallway might have to be traversed here, but as luck would have it, the boss let us get a few good licks in, and that's that. Defeat Dark Sun Gwendolyn, the Dark Moon God. This lets us access the chest containing Sunlight Blade. Back in the swamp for some pyromancies, I tragically found the pyromancer has gone hollow, and he had at least one more spell I needed. Darn it, gotta remember that for NG+, I guess. Now's when I remembered Mask of the Mother grants more HP, so that's what I wore pretty much from now on. And Anor Londo, the Bronze Knight, was no longer happy with me. Using my wit, and definitely not running away while my brother was rejoining the world, she fell to her doom. Another Firekeeper soul it is then. Teleporting back down into the abyss, we speak with Darkstalker Kaith so that now he can eat us and spit us out in Firelink Altar. Place down the Lord Vessel with dramatic effect, and the second half of Dark Souls can now begin. Ceaseless Discharge is a boss, or so I'm told. After grabbing the outfit, he was so enraged that Roki got backhanded with immense disrespect. Then I fought the boss as intended and avenged my fallen comrade. The large flame ember is easy enough to grab on our way down to Demon Fire Sage. My brother, after longer than I expected, got fed up with his bow's damage and opted for the rapier instead. Not the most original boss, and not the most difficult either. Centipede Demon. Roki died pretty quickly, and I didn't feel like soloing this one, even if I could have. Power Within felt like a terrible idea given the lack of an arena and finicky boss. Even though it never really is pretty with this orange demon, we felt okay with how it all ended. Teleporting back to the swamp, we can find Siegmeyer sleeping among a few leeches. Hand him over some moss to cure poison, earning us the Pierce Shield. We're kind of all over the place, so why not enter Seath's palace at this point? Being sure to collect the broken pendant for DLC, that's about all we need to discuss about this place. Put on the ring to avoid curse, and let Seath take you down. I said let Seath take you down here, man. Come on, you're ruining my script. After escaping prison, I had fully upgraded Nito's sword. Used it for a while, and it's good, but this particular moveset feels really awkward to me. Bountiful Sunlight? Soothing Sunlight. Then it's time to turn off that horrible ringing. Nope, we didn't end up getting a Channeler's Trident. We did find Strong Magic Shield stored away in a chest, but that's about it. Crystal Ember is hidden away here, as well as the key to Logan's cell. Ta-da! Symbol of Avarice. Or Mimic Head, to be precise. We mainly came through this way to free Siegmeyer's daughter. She's trapped in this golden golem. Now that she's free, we tell her we've seen her father. Back over to Logan, we free him from his cage, collecting another Firekeeper soul in the process. Logan now moves into the library, where we make sure to buy all his new advanced spells. Then it's over to the Painted World, because that's definitely the most important place to be right now. Mainly, I wanted a better spot to farm souls, because stuff is getting expensive. All these slug guys with shields, or phalanxes, net you a huge amount of souls. Vow of Silence is also in this painting, although we almost missed it. Priscilla has to go, because we need her tail, and it was easier to get than I expected. Defeat Crossbreed Priscilla, the Life Hunter. And then Roki stole my cutscene, which honestly I was kinda mad about, but what are you gonna do? With that, Logan officially has no spells left, so we're good to continue on. Seath is one of those super tough bosses for 100%. Not only can he curse you with his most common attack, but you need to cut his tail. Guess which part of him he tries to keep away from you. Even with two people, we found it very tricky to stay behind him for long. Well under half health, we still hadn't gotten the thing, leading to my brother getting locked in a corner and dying. Boning home, the second attempt was much different. Something kinda weird happened where Seath wasn't moving at all for my brother, so he broke his tail instantly and left me to fend for myself. Then when we almost had him down, I was stun locked by his crystals. At that point, I was just ready for this fight to be over. And as you can see from my brother's point of view, the seamless co-op mod might have broken Seath. He's not my favorite boss anyhow. Defeat Seath the Scaleless, Inheritors of Souls. Thankfully, I had thought to wear a Ring of Sacrifice. No running back for my souls, and no curse. We then went back to Seath's original arena to collect the large magic ember, but Logan wasn't here for some reason. Siegmeyer's daughter was at Firelink, where I sent her off to find her father. Turns out, we needed to speak with Logan again before he would go hollow or mad in Seath's arena. Why this made him get naked, I'm not really all that sure. White Dragon Breath Sorcery. That's a tough one to get right there. DLC, let's go. Yeah, we were obviously just having fun with the routing, if you can't tell. Sanctuary Guardian does have a tail for us. A tail that he really didn't want to let go of. Running attacks do swing up enough to hit, but they are not easy to time. In the end, we did way too much damage without hitting the tail, so guess we'll need to grab that one next time. Oh wait, I don't think DLC items count towards the achievements. The important item in these woods is a single blue titanite slab hiding among some plants. The Bloodborne-dressed fellow had fashion we really needed, so it was time for him to go, even though he's kinda nice to you. Chester's armor is indeed peak fashion. Knight Artorias is our next foe, him being the boss of bosses and pretty much holding this entire game's plot together by himself. Probably my favorite boss in Dark Souls, I would have to say, and one heck of a good fighting co-op. That right there gave me enough souls to further improve my Pyro Glove to a plus 16 equivalent. And since the weapon I beat Dark Souls with on my first run was the Gold Tracer, I told my brother he should definitely try it out. In Lost Izalith, we had a few things to hunt down. Our last Titanite demon gets cut down. Sunlight Maggot Helmet is useful for NG+, definitely. And now for the hardest quest step in Dark Souls. Siegmeyer can be found in a really odd spot down here where these freaky tentacle monsters await him. He wants us to run away while he distracts them for us. But that's not how we do things. Almost managed to die myself there, but thankfully all three of us made it out unscathed. Okay, good. We just had to make sure he survived here. A pyromancer got dealt with swiftly, as Kirk got his first spanking because we might have forgotten about him until now. Fire Whip does need to be picked up in a corner you could easily walk past, before we slide down into one of the coolest boss entrances ever, for one of the most hated bosses ever. We were interested to know if together we could break both sides at the same time, and get to Bed of Chaos before the floor broke. The answer was technically yes, although it didn't really work out for me. Defeat the Souls Lord, Bed of Chaos. Yes, I myself am 1 in 3 for the big bosses in Dark Souls, and this one I did have to walk all the way back up to. So yeah, that was a fun time. Maxing out my Pyro Glove means Pyro's completely done for aside from the one spell I need in NG+. We decided to take out another Hydra for 2 more Dragon Scales. Another scale sits by the water, which I can't believe I missed. Great Magic Barrier almost got away from us, because there's no way I would have ever seen that. We rested at the bonfire and walked back, but still no Siegmeyer. Oh, we need to speak with his daughter at Firelink again. She claims her father has gone on his final adventure. Then it is there in Ash Lake that we find Siegmeyer dead at the hands of his very own daughter. He became hollow and she ended his suffering. We gain a Titanite slab, and not really anything for the achievements. This is just a quest I've never done before and really wanted to fully complete. Now in the Tomb of Giants, the Maggot Helmet proves very helpful for traversing the dark. Paladin Leroy cornered us in the anti-camera cave, and he paid for it dearly. 3 more Eyes of Death are super hidden close to where the first bonfire is. This is also close to a room full of skeletons where you can find the large Divine Ember. With that all done, we can once again speak with Nito, turning in at least 10 Eyes of Death, which earns us the Grave Lord Greatsword Dance Miracle. After purchasing the last sorceries I needed, we can take this fellow down with extreme prejudice. Hush is our final spell, earning us Wisdom of a Sage. Acquire all sorceries. And before I forget, let's go get grabbed by a worm. With a helmet off, these sack guys can grab you and infest you. While we wait about 5 minutes, I think it was, the Ring of Lava immunity can help us grab the Chaos Flame Ember. Once my character rubbed the back of his head, I knew we did it right. Moments later, I sprout a disgusting egg sac. Speak with this fellow here and we can now purchase Poison Mist and Toxic Mist. Using the item he gives us cures this worm disease. Another dead dragon in the painted world drops a dragon scale. Then we grab the blood shield, which is required for 100% as well. My brother knew how to do the dragon skip, which is both very easy and very eerie, as it just kind of gets up out of your way. Manus is our next victim, or more like we are his. We made sure to kill every mimic and collect all the extra spells on our way down just to have them. We even went out of our way to find Sif, though Manus takes too much concentration to look around for a summon son. Also, we just forgot about it, if you want the truth. Full heavy armor might not have been the play, as Roki goes down willingly for my sake. Second try, I played it safe, but this led to Roki getting bashed to death. Yeah, my brother wasn't able to deflect the magic in time, but he was fine with me trying for the win, since we were pretty close by now. That's one messy ending. Sure does make me glad poise was still a thing back in the good old days. Something I wanted to grab really quick was the gold serpent ring. For extra item find rate, you can wait out the boulders in Sen's fortress until they smash away to it. Anyway, back on over to Nito. I equipped the Astoria's straight sword, as upgrading it just enough made for a really nice anti-skeleton weapon. We've got the helmet for light, so I headed straight for the big guys in the back, making sure they were completely out of our way. With no minions left to help him out, Death faces the very thing in which he is. We're fighting death itself, is what I'm trying to say. Defeat the Soul Lord, Grave Lord Nito. If you can count accurately, we only have a single boss left to go. Before we get to him, however, there are some items we must collect just so we have them in the pocket. Black Knight Greatsword, Black Knight Halberd. Those are easy to farm near the end of the game. Now, Channeler's Trident is one of the worst items you need to collect, but interestingly, we found a way to make it take minutes. In the archives, you have one person kill the Channeler, then just stand still. Second player sits on the bonfire, which will respawn the Channeler. Now you kill him 46 times in a row for the Trident. Much easier than doing it solo. Like a million times easier. We then remembered a duo fight, that being the two Sanctuary Guardians. Perfect time to try for that tail again. We ended up with 2 of them after it was all said and done. Can't even make this stuff up. Oh crap, we actually forgot about Calamite. To be fair, he's so out of the way, I just completely blanked him from my mind. Forgot to talk to the giant, which went well, of course. Then once he was shot down, this fight did not go well. Yet another dragon with a tail means we need to cut that off. And guess who has the hardest tail to hit in the game? We tried Bow, but that didn't seem to deal enough damage. What makes matters worse is Calamite is one of the most challenging bosses, who can deal some of the most damage to you. Death after death after death left my brother very unhappy. He was losing his mind, since it was getting pretty late by now anyway. I think the honest answer is there simply is no good strategy for cutting the tail. Not one we could find. Ended up using running attacks, as they had just enough overhead swing to barely clip the tail. Staying in lighter armor so as to dodge rather than tank gave me room to work while Roki kept him distracted. All in all, we spent around an hour swinging wildly in the air. All for this glorious moment. Yes, we finally did it. Oh, wait, there's still a whole boss fight left. Whatever, man, I'll take the early victory. Time to bonk him with my big dragon tail weapon and hope for the best. Now that is one heck of a boss fight, with a nice Titanite slab for our victory. Also at this point, I wanted to use Calamete's tail weapon in NG+, so that felt like a huge victory. Farming phalanxes in the painted world would be my life for the next couple of hours. We needed like thousands of souls to convert various weapons and upgrade them along every path. Pyromancies made this ridiculously easy, but also kinda fun, since pressing the instant win button is amusing every time. The next couple of achievements are upgrading a weapon down each individual path. The Claymore became my Titanite path, the Greatsword became my Lightning path, the Murakumo became my Crystal path. Handing over the Great Magic Ember to the new Londo Blacksmith let me get a Great Axe down the Magic path. I made the Server Sword into my Divine path for a decent NG+ option on skeletons. Once my brother was back on again, we made our way back to Lost Izalith where we helped Siegmeyer defeat those creatures. A hidden chest in this sludge contains one red Titanite slab, which my brother dropped so I could have two. The Skeleton Blacksmith in the Catacombs takes both Fire and Chaos Embers, letting me upgrade the Great Zweihander into a Fire Sword. I then created a Chaos Scythe, which is actually a halberd. I went with a basic longsword for the Enchanted path. Parrying Dagger went into the Raw path, and finally we have the Occult. For this one, I had to go collect the Dark Ember in the Painted World. It's off to the right side once you enter the front door. Never been over there before, so makes sense that we missed it. One Shodel now turned Occult. There we have every type of weapon upgrade completed. Now oddly, you don't need all the rings in this game, but we did go grab the Silver Serpent ring anyways because we wanted to have them all. It's actually in a very odd spot in the Tomb of Giants. And the last thing we did before finishing the game was farm tons of souls to upgrade many different weapons into boss weapons. Basically, I had saved every single boss soul up until this point so we could go down a list on the wiki and check them all off. Originally, I was going to list them out, but honestly that seems kind of boring, so instead enjoy the background gameplay here showing some of the cooler ones. We are missing Smo's hammer, of course, because you can't get his soul and Ornstein's at the same time. Now with some giant armor I bought to look cool, we can jump on over and speak with the Crystal guy. He sells boss armor, which is important to me because I want the full Golem set. At long last, we can enter the final boss door. Big Sword Bro getting up close and personal, with the long-range bowman pelting him non-stop, which turns out he becomes really jumpy when facing a bow. Kind of made him more passive at times. Instead of kindling the fire, we step backwards out of the boss room and accept the dark ending.
Let the true dark be cast upon the world. Our Lord hath returned.
Reach the Dark Lord ending. There you go. Dark Souls, beaten in seamless co-op. But of course we are still missing about 6 achievements, and we both did want to give NG+ a shot anyway. So the adventure continues. But to make it a little bit different, I wanted to use the Iron Golem armor and weapon. My brother chose to play the reincarnation of Siegmeyer with the shield, Zweihander, and armor. I did try out Calamete's tail weapon on Asylum Demon, but sadly its damage isn't exactly what I wanted. Actually, it's pretty good right now, but as you can see, my brother was tired of doing no damage. Full-on Zwei with lightning kinda plays the game by itself. So instead, I moved to the axe alongside Power Within. At the merchant, I bought as much repair powder as I could. As long as you one-hand this axe, it's able to send out a wave of damage that has pretty solid range. In a way, me and my brother kinda flipped builds. He is big damage, and I attack from safety to keep the boss busy. Solaire is officially our main priority. Past the Red Drake, we can interact with a statue and join the final covenant. Discover the Warrior of Sunlight Covenant. Lightning Spear is now mine, although we need a few more Sunlight medals to get the last miracle. Solaire's summon signs don't actually work at first. Second player needs to quit out so you can go to the main menu and come back. Then he's ready for the battle. So now we have Iron Golem, Onion Bro, and Sun Bro all duking it out against the two Gargs. Peak Dark Souls never looked this good. Karmic Justice was another miracle we couldn't afford in the first run. Next, it was Onion Bro versus Onion Bro, putting the poor guy out of episode 2. With a crazy amount of repair powder at the ready, Capra Demon gets his due punishment. We went to the depths as soon as possible, mainly to free the pyromancer. The one and only pyromancy I didn't have was Flash Sweat. Acquire all pyromancies. Now with all the metals needed, I can turn them in for Sunlight Spear. Acquire all miracles. In the sewers, we challenged Kirk to a duel. Safe to say, he lost. Gaping Dragon is another boss where you can summon Solaire, which it did work. The guy definitely spawned in to help us. Too bad he got stuck inside a wall and never actually did any fighting. Still, he was with us in spirit, and that's all that matters. As for the axe itself, I came to really like this thing. On New Game Plus, the wave attack is falling off already, which is disappointing, but it's really fun to have in general. Especially outside of bosses, you can clear out ganks before they get to you. While I do really enjoy this boss, he is kind of a sponge when you fight him like this. So here's the highlight. A second use of Power Within is something not many people get to use. At Quelaag, I can confidently say it makes a huge difference. When bosses have a large amount of health, you could stay in it all the way through, or even not pop the second use if things get hairy. With both bells rung, it's time to face old Pop Pop, the Iron Golem himself. Can I overcome my father? Can I surpass his glory? Well, yeah, because I don't have the fall over and sit there for a long time problem. Bad knees is what it is. Happens to the best of us. In Anor Londo, we can check in with Solaire, making sure he's all gung-ho about the sun and whatnot. It's Black Knight Greatsword time, as I felt like switching things up. With giant armor on, my poise should be through the roof, and this thing puts in work. It gets this nasty uppercut for the heavy swing that uses all your stamina. Also misses half the time, but looks cool for sure. We needed Ornstein to go down first, since we're still missing Smo's hammer as one of the required weapons. Big Fatsa really had it out for me, leading to me barely even hitting the Dragon Slayer at all. Come to think of it, this was probably the worst possible time to switch weapons. A ranged attack would have perfectly countered Smo's second phase. You can definitely outspace his hammer and keep away from the dangerous lightning. If anything, we look really cool swinging this thing around. Oh, also Solaire's summon sign didn't work for this one sadly, but he'll make it to the next party, I promise. Sif was the first time we started noticing how much more damage we were taking. One swing from that sword and it was heal or be dead. Thankfully, I didn't die to Power Within this time, as that, we can try and forget that ever happened. I swear the dog was jumping away from me in particular, but at least we know Big Sword really is king, cause if even a dog picks it as their main weapon, they've really got some quality to them. At the giant blacksmith, we can acquire Smo's hammer with his soul, and the Great Lord Greatsword with Lord Gwyn's soul. Acquire all rare weapons. Definitely a struggle to get this one, as there are so many weapons you need for it. With some of my giant armor upgraded, I decided to swap over to Smo's hammer. With such insane stat requirements, this is the one time I'll get to try it. Also, it covering half the screen was amusing to me. Ceaseless Discharge only took a couple of hits, because we're so good at this game. But we forgot to place down the Lord Vessel, so had to go do that really quick. Once we used some humanity, Kirk invaded for the second time. Before anything else, we headed straight for all the maggots and killed every last one of them. Offer the spider lady 30 humanity, and when you get down here, the door will open upon interacting with it. Kill every last maggot on this side as well, and as long as none are left alive, Slayer should survive his trip down here. Demon Fire Sage is a good time to talk about Smo's hammer. 58 strength is required to even wield the thing. Since it's a strength weapon, you can easily lessen that by two-handing, but still, it's a heavy son of a gun. Something I didn't notice until much further in is that the weapon actually heals you as you attack. According to the wiki, you heal for 10 HP with every hit, which is terrible when you have so much health, but it does feel kinda helpful since power within drains you. Slayer is summonable for Centipede Demon. In fact, he's pretty great here, as the boss will go for him as he tanks most of the damage. If only there was a ring that lets you fight this boss in the lava. Oh wait, he's the one who drops it. That isn't confusing or anything. Wait the guy out long enough and it's 3 dudes fighting a giant monster. What more could a man ask for? Slayer sits on the other side waiting for us, confused as to why he cannot find his sunlight. Kirk, my boy, is back for round 3, which does not go any better for him. With me dying on my first run through Bed of Chaos, the goal is to not do that. How did this plan go, you might ask? Roll the footage, I guess. I don't even want to talk about what just happened. Nope, not gonna do it. Although, let's be honest here. Is anyone at all surprised? Didn't think so. Moment of truth, ladies and gentlemen. Did we save Slayer? Or is he going to die along with every other Tarnished? I mean, Hollow. Huzzah! He's alive! Not too happy, no, but alive nonetheless. Alright, buddy, we'll see you again at the end of the game. Here's a fun idea. Let's use the Moonlight Butterfly's very own shield to block her magic. The thing does a pretty good job at it, even though she was being pretty stubborn and wouldn't come down. Stray Demon, here we come. We really wanted this to look better than last time, since we came here way too early. This damage was looking much better, and on top of that, we were able to stay out of his blast radius more often than not. Even managed to get him into a perfect loop closer to the end. Pinwheel was a small disaster once again. Even with high damage, all that fire flying around does not look very clean at all. Nito was kind of fun, as I had a strong weapon prepared for the skeletons that dealt with them in seconds. By that time, Roki had the Dark Lord at half health, and with both of us going to town, it was all over before he even knew what hit him. Priscilla is about the time I remembered, oh hey, you know, I did upgrade my Pyro Flame to max and grab every pyromancy. Maybe I should stop bonking everything and actually use some spells. Funny thing is, I started this whole journey wanting to main pyromancies, but when I see a big weapon, there isn't much that can stop me from giving it a swing. You thought Gwendolyn took forever the first time, the thing took way longer in NG+. Run, smack. Run, smack. I think we all get the picture here. Seath, you big scaly piece of garbage. I'm convinced this dude hates me. It was all looking great until I got cursed in 2 seconds. What the heck? There was 0 time to react, and I wasn't even the one attacking him. Usually we would start over, but Roki was locked in. I have never seen this man outplay me so hard. But when given the chance to watch Siegmeyer play Dark Souls, you sit back and watch Siegmeyer play Dark Souls. That's all there is to it. We're gonna go ahead and say Seath doesn't 100% work correctly in this mod. Screw it. Let's go get us into some DLC. When not trying to cut off the beast's tail, Sanctuary Guardian isn't so bad. Either that, or this hammer just slaps. Artorias is a freaking masterpiece. I can't even begin to hammer that home. Get it? Because I'm using a hammer? Ah, whatever. You either got it or you were never meant to. Then out of nowhere, Chester invaded us. Didn't even know he could do that. Manus is hard initially, add on NG+, and he gets a whole lot harder, that's for sure. We were mainly getting destroyed by his not a grab, where he throws you into 5 or 6 punches while you flop around in the air. All the poise in the world isn't fixing that move for you. During the full run, aggro really wasn't all that important. Bosses either switched here and there or it didn't matter much. Manus actually swapped constantly, letting us heal up right after taking damage as long as the other person was aggressive. Oh, and a +7 healing flask. That probably helped a little bit too, I would imagine. Calamite did take us down, but only once. Without needing his tail, you can actually enjoy the fight a lot more. My idea was to use the giant shield, which matches my armor. There's no way a heavy roll is going to keep me safe, and both the fire and melee attacks are going to chew through me. But with my stamina nearly maxed out, shield has to be useful, and boy was it. This does introduce a new problem where I need to swap from two-handing to one-handing constantly, as Smo's hammer just isn't going to be one-handed really. Though I do feel like blocking a 6-ton monster for you to take 0 damage and get back up ready to fight again is the coolest possible outcome a knight can strive for. My shield strategy also seemed effective against the 4 kings. That is, until I got hit by an attack not even meant for me. Not really the best start yet again. I'm not sure how this keeps happening against the kings. No shield this time. Let's instead make use of the bulldoze method, where you hit the boss until it stops moving, and then you hit the next boss until it stops moving, and you keep on doing that until victory pops up. Highly effective, you have to give me that. I would also like to recommend not taking damage. Anyone? Okay, fair. These tips and tricks aren't exactly top of the line or anything. This time, I'm almost 100% sure we didn't miss anything. After making it past all the Black Knights, we came upon Soleil's summon sign. That's right, folks. Siegmeyer, Siegmeyer, and the giant bonker himself shall beat Dark Souls once and for all. And Solaire just fell off the steps to his death, didn't he? Walk back through the sandy desolation, re-summon Solaire, and now it's time for the three brothers to take on Gwyn. The best NPCs in FromSoft history, the sunlight and the night. It's time for the ultimate smackdown. We rekindle the fire and receive the second ending to Dark Souls Remastered, earning our last achievements and 100%ing one of the greatest games of all time. Reach to Link the Fire ending, and all achievements completed. Congratulations. That, my friends, is how me and my brother spent 34 hours 100%ing Dark Souls in seamless co-op. This is the most fun way to play a Souls game. With health scaled correctly, you can create builds and make your way through the entire game with no interruptions. We had one heck of a good time, and to be frank, attempting the 100% made us enjoy this 10 times more. If the creator of this mod will ever hurry up and get it done for Dark Souls 2, that would be the dream. But seriously, thank you to this guy, because this was everything you could ever want from this game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the content. I am currently working on a 100% playthrough of Mandragora next. The run is finished and the footage is recorded. I just need to get on the editing. Look forward to that, and I don't have much else for you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.